Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 10 of Satisfactory. In this episode, we'll be discussing the great belt issue that I brought up in the previous episode. But having said that, I've kind of already done it. So maybe we're not going to have a grindy episode of building belts. Maybe we might be starting on the Mega Factory this episode. You know, might start on a bit of a smeltery just here. Just saying. Also, some of you might have been wondering how I get rid of this fog. So if you notice, it's very foggy, and on my thumbnails and that, I don't have this fog on it. Well, if you press Control-Shift-L, and then nothing happens, and then you press the tilde key, which is the little squiggly key, up usually in the top left-hand corner of your keyboard, it'll bring up the, I guess, the console for the game. And then you type in r.fog space 0, enter. And like magic, the game is beautiful. So there's a handy tip for all of you playing Satisfactory. If you don't want the fog there, and you want to be able to see, then there you go. Honestly, I think that should be a video setting, but for whatever reason, they've decided not to have that as a video setting. So for the meantime, that's how you do it, and you need to reload it each episode you start off with. But I'm going to make a quick journey over. Actually, you know what? Come with me. Let's go no cuts. No cuts, and we'll explore. Oh, Paleberry. So these belts are done for the most part. Well, actually, no, they are. They're done in their entirety, not for the most part. They all go back to a single Mark II. So each and every one of these belts goes to a miner. So we've got, what, 3, 6, 12 different Mark II miners just feeding these belts from over in this direction. They're all Mark IV belts. Came through, got them all done, Mark IV. And look, it took some doing. I went through my whole inventory with encased industrial beams about 4 times to build all of these, I guess, conveyor belt highways, which is slightly ridiculous, but at the same time, hopefully we're not going to have to do this again for a while, because we've got a ridiculous amount of resources. So this is one of my lower output machines, and it does 300 per minute being sulfur. We currently can't use sulfur, but it's ready for when we can. So it's 300. These belts are a 450 cap currently, so that's, you know, not quite fast enough. Having said that, every single one of these other ones are running at the full 450, so the maximum capacity of these belts is being completely maxed out on all of my coal, iron, all of the coal, iron. There's some copper up there. I think there's a thing of limestone as well. 450. The only one that isn't is this Caterham over here, which is why I was venturing. It's also only at 300, but it's a Mark II completely maxed out. It's as quick as I can make it. All the rest of them, though, because they're pure nodes, they only take 2 power cores, I think they're called. Power shards, sorry. And they'll produce 480 per minute with 2 power shards if you're looking at a pure Mark II miner. So that's why I went with the somewhat overkilled decision to make all of these Mark IV belts all the way back to my base. So there was also a few commenters saying that I'd be better off just using the trucks, and for one belt of this I guess whatever material, then the trucks would be fine, correct? But as soon as you start doing as many resources as I'm doing here, the trucks don't keep up. So like the truck will transport about 1 belt's worth of these. But obviously I've got, 12 belts of these. So unless I was going to run 12 different trucks across my base, and then that starts getting really laggy and just not worth it. So I think this is a far better option, and I would probably recommend this to anybody, because I tried to mess around with the trucks, and they just don't work that well. They've got nothing on these conveyor belts anyway. So, I'm going to make a quick cut here, get the resources together, and start work on this smeltery, and I'll bring you back once we've made a little bit of progress and done some grindy work on it. I'll see you all in a bit. Hey guys, just bringing you all back. In classic Some Aussie fashion, I've gotten extremely carried away and built, what, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 floors of smelting. So, I'll quickly run through these and show you what each level looks like. I currently haven't installed any of the power poles or belts. I've just got all the splitters and mergers. So what's going to happen is the resources will come in this side, all the way up. I've just been doing a little bit of tinkering to try and get these belts to work. I'll continue doing some of that once I've explained off camera, and bring you back once I've got a more reliable way of getting the conveyor belts up. But nevertheless, we've got 8 smelters on this side, another 8 on that side, leaving us with a grand total of 16 smelters. So what we need to produce is 450 iron and or copper, and the very top one's going to be Caterham probably. But for the iron and copper, I need to do 450 items per minute. And these, obviously, they only do 30 items per minute, which is, if you do the math, 16 of those equals 480 items per minute. But obviously 480 is too many, because we only have a belt of 450. So what I'm going to do is take 2 of these and put them on half speed, like I have done already on this floor. That way I'll have 15 here, 15 there, for a total of 30, and then plus full for all the rest of them, leaving us with 450 items per minute. If you do 15 smelters, that'll also equal 450 items per minute, just for your knowledge. I didn't like the way that the odd number of smelters look, so I just put in an extra smelter and I'm going to halve them. And that continues on every single floor all the way up to the top there. So we worked it out whilst I was creating this, and it turns out that just this little building of smelters is going to use 500 megawatts of power. So we're going to have to A, build this smeltery, B, build like a bunch of constructor buildings, which is another part of my plan, and C, we're going to have to build an enormous fuel station over here somewhere, because we're going to need a bucket load of power. Well, nevertheless, I'm going to keep getting busy on some of these conveyor belt mathematics, and I'll bring you back once I've got something a little bit more reliable to show you. Hey guys, I want to bring you back with a unexpected win. So I had realistically no hope that this would work. I thought this would fail for sure. And for whatever reason, I've linked all of these belts up. So 4 high, come across, raise up 4 high, and just followed it all the way up, stopping off at every single floor to give off resources, and it just so happens that the belts match the floors perfectly somehow through magic. Like, what are the chances? So this is the design we're going to go with, because it works. And I cannot believe it works, but it works. It looks kind of messy. But hey, that's really good. I'm happy with that, because this is going to get closed off. So this belt. Oh, I could open it. I don't know. We'll do something with these belts, but the fact that I can do it within these walls makes it so much easier to build. Like, because originally I thought I was going to have to do some hyper efficient conveyor stack thing, which is like 1 here, 1 there, 1 here, and 1 there, right? And then you bring them up and around. If you haven't seen it, I'll quickly show you what that looks like. So it's where you start here, go up. You can make these progressively wider. But, yeah, so it works like this. That guy goes up to that guy. You know, that guy goes down to the ground. This guy goes to that guy goes down to the ground. And so you end up with this. So that's a two-way elevator. So you bring in resources on the either side, and it'll take both of them up. Alternatively, you can also turn them around the other way. You can have one going up and one going down, all within this little space. So if you were looking for a small elevator, then that's how you do it. But if you want something like this on the side of a large-scale building that just so happens to be 8 floors high and 5 blocks wide, then that works perfectly for you. So what did I just delete? So yeah, the more you know, eh? Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side now. So this is going to be my input. So I'll have a belt of each going in there. And then the output is going to be on this side. So I'll do the exact same thing, but instead the resources will come out. So yeah, I'll be back with you once I've done this side of the belts. Hey guys, I thought I'd bring you on for the building process of the one coming down. So to make it easier to understand what's happening here, I've sort of come through, and what I've done is I've put a belt on each floor, right, to link up with the outputs of the floors, minus these bottom two. The bottom two haven't been done because the belt will come in from just there and just there at this point. So you don't have to worry about these two yet. But from the top down, you do this. And then from there, what we're going to do is come through and go, okay, so this belt there is going to need resources, correct? Obviously. And this belt right here needs to come down 4. So what does 4 look like? So if straight across is there? No. There. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be 4. We bring this down 4. Being so that's straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this guy, we're straight there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy, straight, is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this guy, straight, 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy days. And that is all of that side done. Now we need to do the same on... Wait, do we? Yes, on this side. So we've done that side, now we need to do this side. So him right there. This guy here comes down to there, so we need to link him up again. So he's directly above that belt, so that makes that nice and easy. He's directly above that belt, makes that belt nice and easy. He's above that one, nice and easy. He's there. I've missed one somewhere. Where have I missed one? Ah, you coming up. I've missed him. So he needs a belt. You've come 1. You've got 1. All the way down. All the way down, question mark. Believe so. Yep. All the way down, question mark. No, okay, so we missed a belt just here. Easy. There we go. And then, oop. So we should have one more belt missing. So you just keep following them. So what have we got here? So I need... This guy has a belt. Yep. What about this guy? He has a belt there. Down to there. Yep. How many inputs have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more here. Missing. Has to come from... Oh, right there. How did we miss this guy? And done. So that was a little bit more difficult to do than the other one. The other one I started at the bottom and went up, but obviously we need these to conveyors to run downwards so we can get the resources out. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you, but you know, if you just follow where the conveyor belts are going and you keep them all at the same angle, then eventually it looks messy, but that's actually completely, you know, uniform to an extent. Actually a really satisfying thing to look at. Anyway, I'm going to do some more progress, link all these belts up, and then I'll probably bring you back for a time lapse of me connecting all the power up through this whole building. So I'll see you in a tick. Hey guys, I'm going to bring you through building one floor of this beastly smelter, just as far as the conveyor belts that I use and the way that I lay the power out and that sort of thing. That way you can, if you want to build along at home, and you can, you'll know exactly how I did it and how it fits. So most importantly, I guess, is to start at the start with this smelter. You can see the way that it lines up is perfectly against this floor here, right? You can see that? Hopefully you can see that. And if we come to the other end, you'll see it lines up the exact same way. So a key point about that is you can't put a wall there, unfortunately, because it's just too close. But it does mean that we've got a whole extra foundation all the way around to do splitters, which is nice. The extra space, realistically, is worth more to you than it is saving, if that makes sense. Like, to have this here makes it so much easier to build that it's worth chewing up the extra 2 pieces of foundation. Anyway, so that's 8 smelters on this side, 8 smelters on this side. I've also got all these mergers up the center. And I've got splitters down each side. So splitters down that side, and splitters down that side. Rightio, let's lay it out with some belts, shall we? So I like to use frame skip. I like to use Mark IV belts, purely because, you know, they're not too hard for me to make at this point in the game, and realistically you could get away doing what I'm doing currently with Mark III belts. Like, there's no reason to use these Mark IV belts if you're a bit poor on, you know, the reinforced concrete things that I'm using, then don't bother. But, you know, if you're like me and you've got plenty and it's just a matter of time before you go and pick up another box load, then there's no point on doing it. I mean, at some point in the future, these smelters may become the ability to become Mark II smelters for all we know, and then the belts might already be here, but, you know, I'm just hypothesizing at this point. Like, it doesn't really make a difference. All I'm saying is don't worry about it. Nevertheless, we come through and I do Mark IVs for all these backbone belts, and then for all these ones that are just connected to the machine, because the machine only uses, you know, 30 at max. There's no point putting a super ultra belt into it. A 60 belt is double what the machine will ever use, so I just chuck those in like this. And I'll go through and I'll do this on each of my backbones and through the center. Oh. Yeah. There we go. Also, while I'm going through this, these smelters, the way that I've got them laid out, having 16 of them, realistically you actually only need 15 smelters to fully stock one Mark IV belt. So if you can fit 15 smelters, then you've got enough to smelt a full belt. I've got 16 in here, and you might be like, well, if you only need 15 Aussie, why on earth have you put an extra smelter in there? That's because I'm a symmetry snob. I don't like having a random asymmetric building inside. So what I've done is I've come through and I've just made 2 of these run it at half performance, as you can see. So that way I've effectively removed 1 smelter from this floor, but I've sort of not really removed the smelter, if that makes sense. Well, at any rate, that's all the belts done. So last thing I'll do is I'll come through with these conveyor poles, and you'll see that they fit nicely in here. Just like this. Not conveyor poles, sorry, power poles. And I'll plop all those down. And if you just watch on through till the end of this little chunk, I'll show you a hot tip on how to get the power up and down like this. If I can show you at the back. Ooh. See how the power just goes straight up through the floor? I'll show you how to do that at the end. There we go. And then the tedious work, which is these power poles. They're always a little bit of a pain to connect, but that's okay. You'll hear some YouTubers swear by the Caterham Mark 6 poles. Mark 2 poles, sorry, where they've got the, I think it's six different connections that you can make instead of 4. But realistically, I think it gets a little messy, honestly. Like, the cabling with these smaller amounts of poles is a lot neater. So yeah, I've maxed out all these poles in the center, but it's very neat. At any rate, we'll link up this last one, and you can see this factory producing like a beast. There we go. Look at that. Flying through, and we're full. Took about half a second, right. Also, this splitter merger thing doesn't need to be here. It's just here to make it easier for me. A little bit neater to build, that's all. Only reason it's there. Well, that is how I build a floor. Going on over here. Board just hasn't made it yet. So, another quick tidbit. Because I hear a lot of people complaining about these splitters, right? Saying that, oh, you know, it'll never run at the end, right? If you just sit here with me, you'll notice that, you know, that one's running, and these 4 aren't running yet, right? If we just sit here for a moment, this light will become solid, which it has. And then it goes yellow, and then it'll come back to solid, and eventually it'll be filled. So it'll always have ore, because this one will be filled, the one before it'll be filled, and vice versa all the way down. So eventually, all of these are just going to run at maximum capacity. So there's no reason to do crazy elaborate splitters that are like doing all of the hard work for you as far as the math goes. Like, realistically, as soon as this fills up, then it doesn't matter. It's just going to push everything else forward anyway. So build like this, it's easier. As long as you get the math right, building like this is just easier. Right, so the hot tip with the poles that I told you I was going to give at the end, I'll show you how to do that now. Let's hop over here into the beautiful moonlight. And I'll plop down a couple of walls to build on. And a wall over here to jump on, right. Cool. So, if I come through, and that's the lowest you can build a floor on a wall, by the way, if you were curious. And I just need to jump up here, down here. And I come through and then I produce a power pole. I've got the Mark 2s. So I produce a power pole here, right? And then I go, well, I also want a power pole under here. You'll notice that if you go to connect these, it's not going to let you do it because there's a thing in the way, right? Encroaching other clearance, which is that foundation. But if you place all of your poles like that, which I did in there, and then you remove the foundations under the poles, you can then link them together and then just replace the foundations. Like that. Some people might consider this, you know, cheaty or whatnot, but realistically, it's just concrete. There's no reason that they can't have a conduit cable going through the concrete slab. That's how actual buildings are made, so yeah, that's my justification to myself, and if that's not good enough for you, that's okay, but there you go. Pro tip on how to get power up through your floors. Just remember that you need to do this before you put any machinery on these foundations, because if you do put machinery on the foundation, it won't let you place it back because of the way that it's a bad piece of machinery. the way that these little foundation feet work, if these feet are under or on the slab, then you can't replace the slab again. It's a little bit weird, but there you go. I'll be back for the, oh look, yeah. As you can see, we're green. Green all the way to the end. That one's full. Oh, most of these are full. Nice. At any rate, I'll be back with you once all of these blinky red lights start being blinky green and blinky orange lights. Hey guys, for the last time in this episode, I am back. As you can see, I've made some huge progress on the smelter. They're all completely connected. They've all pumped out all their resources, be it iron, copper, Caterham, whatever. They're all completely done, all hooked up, everything's working. I've put a big S on the front of it. You would probably think the S is for some Aussie, but no, the S is actually going to be a naming convention for all of these buildings. So S is going to be smelter. F is going to be foundry. C is going to be constructor. A assembler. M manufacturer. So on and so forth. Oil refinery, and I'll probably have P for power, be it coal or steel, either or. But yeah, so that's what we've achieved this episode. We've achieved a monster foundry that's capable of, smelter, that's capable of smelting up, you know, what, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 items-ish. Yeah, so almost 4,000 items a minute can be smelted in that building alone. I'd say it's pretty impressive. My frame rate takes a bit of a dive when I look at it, but I think that might have something to do with the base that we have to start off with in the background. But yeah, thanks for watching. This has been Some Aussie with another episode of Satisfactory, and I hope you enjoy the progressive builds. So in this episode, just a quick recap, we went through and did all of the superhighways, all the belts Mark IV, and we've also created this huge smeltery here. So hopefully see you in the next episode, and the next episode will be episode 11, and that'll be, with any luck, about construction, or potentially foundries. F or C. F or C will be built right here. So I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.